This video is aimed at landscape architects or designers to encourage you to adapt to new collaborative design approaches to ensure the importance of our profession and prove to other disciplines in the industry the significance of guaranteeing a seat at the design table for landscape architects from an early start of any project. The benefit of a good landscape design as it relates to architecture or engineering is obvious for most when it comes to something like a campus or park space, but when it's not obvious, it's often seen as an afterthought. But this isn't simply about selling people on landscape design ideas that we, as landscape designers, already know. This video explores how we might widen the breadth of the design industry's focus beyond the footprint of the site, with us at the driver's seat. By completely engulfing ourselves in the collaborative process with tools that are familiar to other disciplines, landscape architects can widen the scope beyond a site towards greater ecological issues while relaying this information in real time and in a meaningful way towards a design that is rooted in ecology. To do that, I'll be showcasing one of the standard design flows used in the architectural industry, starting with Autodesk's conceptual analysis tool, Forma, and their BIM modeling tool, Revit, pointing out some of the pitfalls or limits of these popular tools as they relate to the landscape. Then, I'll be showing a Revit model being imported into ArcGIS Pro and discuss the future of these programs. Forma is a cloud-based software, meaning no install is required, so you can access it on your browser. If you have an Autodesk subscription, it should be available to you. When you get to this page, you simply click to start a new project, then enter in a location. For this video, I'll be utilizing a sample project that Revit provides, which happens to be located in Brownsville, Pennsylvania, so I'll choose that location. Once you get here, you can start seeing the limits of Forma as it relates to issues beyond the site. Forma is limited to a 2 km by 2 km square, which limits the extent at which ecological analysis can be made from a landscape architect's point of view. For the tool itself, you'll be able to view and create some rudimentary building masses and other simple objects. With these rudimentary buildings, there's a collection of analysis tools here that help an architect with very early conceptual thinking. But what about other issues? How will this design affect the ecology of a site? How will it affect stormwater management or wildlife? How does it play into the bigger picture? This is the gap that can be filled by landscape architects. And recent partnership efforts between Autodesk and Esri, the makers of ArcGIS Pro, can make it happen. Back in October of last year, Autodesk CEO Andre Anagnost discussed the future of Forma, moving past basic sustainability analysis as it merges with geospatial data from ArcGIS. This can mean the ability to bring the extensive capabilities of ArcGIS map layers and attributes directly into Forma. This moves me into the next portion, where we import this Forma model into Autodesk's flagship BIM software, Revit. The Esri and Autodesk Strategic Alliance's main goal is the unification of BIM and GIS, but the process is slow. For those who don't know, BIM stands for Building Information Modeling. Essentially, the idea of BIM is that every object you place in a model has information tied to it. When you place objects in AutoCAD, you're simply placing lines that have been grouped together to represent something. But when you place an object in Revit, you're placing both the object you see and the information tied to it. This means that a tree in a BIM landscape can have all information required to install that tree, such as root size, condition, install height, water and sun requirements, and mature growth dimensions. The main benefit workflow-wise is that all information for documentation comes from the model itself. So when you make a change to the model, that change is reflected into schedules, reports, worksheets, plans, sections, elevations, and more without effort. This is why collaboration excels within a BIM environment, as multiple disciplines can view both specific and extensive information related to each other's models or workflows. Moving from Forma to Revit is done with just a click of a button. Within Revit, you can see the topographical model that was created from Forma information, as well as the building masses and road approximations. I'll demonstrate a quick example of the information modeling I was talking about. I start by creating a level which my geometry can relate to within an elevation or section view. Then I'll go back to plan view to draw. I place a wall, specify its length that I want it to start at the base level and reach the level I created. Then I'm done. It's visible in all views, And when I go into that wall's properties, I can see some info related to the actual layers within the wall's construction and other info which can be edited. Going back to the model, I won't go too in depth to the functionality of Revit, but I will mention that recent updates to 2024's version of Revit and beyond have enabled more extensive topographical modeling capabilities, making it much more accessible software for landscape architects in the future. Moving into the sample project, you can see the amount of collaborative work that transpired from multi disciplines to develop this Brownsville, Pennsylvania site, including an intensive green roof by landscape architects. It is very presentable with a variety of documentation and views from all different disciplines, but I'll emphasize that at this point, despite all the information provided by Revit's BIM functionality, there is no easily accessible info related to the design's effects on its ecological footprint. Has the watershed been affected, or the site's ability to handle stormwater runoff mitigation? Has this development created any opportunities or constraints for the fauna or flora that occupy or utilize the adjacent river? These are the sorts of answers that we look to address by analyzing Esri map layers. So now we export this Revit model for use in ArcGIS Pro. Importing is relatively simple, and from here we can start visualizing pertinent GIS information as it directly relates to the site. As mentioned earlier, the goal of the partnership between Autodesk and Esri is towards unification of GIS and BIM. So while you cannot currently view GIS layering in Forma or Revit, new functionality gives a glimpse of the future of GIS layering within both. Instead of continuing the workflow from Revit into GIS, imagine the GIS related assessment occurring at the start with Forma and then continuing on into Revit. From here, it would be the role of the landscape architect to utilize all of this additional information in a relevant manner to ensure that ecological design is the basis of any design process in any discipline. Hopefully, this quick demonstration showcases some of the shortfalls within a part of the common workflow in architecture and how landscape architects can play a defining role in bridging the gap between ecological sustainability in a very localized and much broader area, cementing our spot near the top of the design and development process team. Thank you for watching.